Okay, this is going to be a quick rundown of the existing and some of the new features that are in the SP2400 firmware as of yesterday. Actually, was the last update that I received from our developers. Before I start that, I just want to go over a few things that you may be confused about if you've only just sort of discovered the SP2400, or you've just discovered the project. You might be seeing different images on the internet that include extra buttons here and extra parts on the silicon pad structure here, nice solid aluminium sides and everything. What you see there is what will be the production version of the SP2400. This here that I'm doing demonstration on here there's only 3 of these in existence right now. Obviously one of them is with me and the other 2 are with my software developers. These were our first working prototypes, so you'll please excuse things like these buttons not looking, exactly aligned and stuff like that. In fact, these pads are borrowed from another device of mine. All of those things will come in the production units, which is obviously why we're opening up for pre-order soon, so that we can start putting those things into motion. Now, what I'm going to do in this demo is do a bit of sampling for you and show you some existing and new features being multi-mode. And I'll start off by recording in from my synth that's sat next to me. I'm just going to do a quick one-shot sample, and that will enable me to go through some of these things here. So first off, I need to disconnect the output of the 2400 because currently we don't have the live input monitor enabled, and so what would happen there if I didn't unplug that, we'd get a rather nasty feedback whistling sound, which might hurt your eardrums if you're listening loud on a pair of headphones. So now what I'm going to do is go into record mode. And at this point on the screen we've got, they're just jittery pots. Now all of these readout things that you see here are actually for us while we're developing, so that we know what things have been pressed and what values are currently being given out. And in this prototype version of mine, these pots are a little bit noisy, so they randomly give out some values now and again, so just ignore that. Anyway, on the screen right now we've got an oscilloscope and we've got a VU meter. We've got our sample gain adjust here, but also as the original there are 3 set levels here, and I think that was -6, 0 dB and +20 dB, and you'll see as I play on the keyboard, I think we're on 0 dB there. I think that's -6, and obviously that is +20, so that's clipping at the current gain that I've got set there. But just for purposes of doing a quick recording here, we'll be set at 0 dB there now. At this point, the sampler is armed, and we can tap any one of these pads and it will start recording onto that channel. Now, there's no strict limit on the amount of time that you can sample into the 2400. You're really only limited by your SD card or your USB stick, so there's no 10-second or 2.5 seconds per channel limit there. So I'm going to record in a quick sample on the keyboard, drop back out of record mode there and plug the output back on. Little bit of silence there at the start, it's not too bad. There obviously will be auto truncate and trimming the silence and stuff like that, but just for this demo that's going to be good enough. So there's our recorded in chord. First off, we've got mix. Pretty self-explanatory there, same as the original. Then we've got pitch mode, and as I start going down in pitch here, you will start hearing the the classic sort of ringing effect from the drop sample algorithm that was basically just no interpolation, and that's why you start getting aliasing effects like that, and it sounds like that. When I'm sampling in at the moment, and everything else that you see in this demo is 12-bit 26.04 kilohertz. Now in the production units you will be able to set per channel whether you want it in lo-fi mode or hi-fi mode, which will be I think 24-bit 48 kilohertz. I might be wrong, might be 44.1, but obviously you'll have a high definition mode and lo-fi mode a la the original. So as I sweep down the pitch, as I said, you'll start hearing those artifacts coming in. And another thing to note there is, as you can probably tell, I'm sweeping down the pitch and there aren't any defined steps as there were in the original. I think the original was up and down a fifth of an octave. And so in our unit, there'll be 3 options there. There may be more, but 3 that we can think of at the moment, which will be the same as the original, which I believe is up and down a fifth of an octave, and that's their steps. I'll also have up and down an octave, so there'll be a complete octave up and down, and this current mode, which is free pitch mode, which is, I guess the same sort of thing as vinyl. You can speed it up and slow it down. So that's our pitch. We've also got envelope here, which currently we've got decay. The decay time is what you can change here. So there you're getting the full sample played. And you can then start trimming the decay down on that. Then we've got multi-level mode. Now, when you're in multi-level mode, you can still use either the envelope, pitch, or the mix level. So if we're on envelope there, you can see it says on the screen there, multi-decay sample 0. So this is our sample 0 here, and what it's done is it's spread that sample across the whole keyboard. Now we can adjust here for every different pad the amount of decay. I probably should have played that chord for a little bit longer to be able to really demonstrate that. But so what we're doing here is spreading across the pads with different decay times. Same thing here with pitch, which is the same as the original. And again, for every you can change the pitch of each individual pad and save that as well. And then last but not least, of course, multi-level, which again is the same as the original. And you can, of course, change each level of each pad how you see fit. Next up, I think what we'll do is I'll give you a demonstration of the filters and we'll mess around with some loops. And for now, I think that's about it. So what we'll do is we'll just reset that by going through. These are 4 banks like the original, bank A, bank B, so these are a complete different set of sounds now, bank C, bank D. So go back to bank A, and here we have a sample being played. We can turn loop on. Now at the moment this top row of buttons, when you're just in a play mode like this is turning loop on, but as I said, we've got dedicated buttons for such tasks that will be in the production unit. So what I can do here is if I turn this currently is in loop mode, and these 2 pots here, you've got an upper pot and a lower pot, are adjusting the loop point. Okay, so that's a quick demonstration of that, and what we also have now is an implementation of our filter, so I'm going to turn that on. Now that's just cut off. Now I can introduce some resonance there. And Chaz Emphatic from Mummy Club, who is actually also going to be one of our very technical beta testers and advisors once the production models are sent out to our select VIP section of people that very graciously agreed to help us out. The samples he's provided to me to do this demo, I'd love you to go and check out his Bandcamp page. It's Chaz Emphatic from Mummy Club. Really, thank you so much for that vinyl that you sent me, buddy. It's awesome. I can just mess around play a few samples. So the samples that I just played there, that sample's actually some of the multi-tracks from his songs. Now, we haven't got the sequencer built into this at the moment, so there's not really any way for me to sync stuff up other than try and hit the pads at the same time and hope for the best. But I'm just going to sort of noodle around on a couple of these sounds, and I think we'll call it a day on that. So thanks for listening.